Pastor, I have done the transactional stuff, and sometimes I take it a little farther than transaction. And then I did get to the point where I started investing myself much more in people, and there's a little principle I follow that's inside of everything you're saying. I'm not in a hurry. I'm in a hurry to get involved, but I'm not in a hurry to see the results that I want, because I look at my own life. I mean, I was 58 less than 2 years ago. I was 58 before I finally decided to turn my tongue over to the Lord. And yet I sang all the hymns that say, take my words and let them, all this stuff, Yeah, right. Becoming more like Christ is a very long, constant process.
Humbling process.
Humbling, a constant surrendering. So we can't be in a big hurry. What would be more involvement with two ministries that maybe you can think of better than I can?
Let's talk about prison ministry. It's a huge area in desperate need of transformational engagement by the Church of the Lord. The typical transactional kind of ministry is, we'll go to the prison once a month and we'll do a Bible study. And I don't want to say that's not important. Thank God for the people going into prisons doing Bible study.
Yes.
Thank God for that. But we will sort of think then our job is done there. But actually, we have more people incarcerated in this country than anywhere, and 4 out of 5 of them are eventually going to get out. They're not in for life. So their clock is ticking and they're going to come out. A transactional person can just see, well, I'm doing my part to help those guys. It's not bad. But transformational would be trying to zero in on a few of those guys and saying, boy, I need to be this guy's friend, this woman's friend, over the long horizon till they get out in 8 years. Wow. Committing to connect to a person through letters and visits and their family outside. There's a great book called Doing Time on the Outside, what families go through when their loved one is in prison.
Wow. Engaging
ourselves in that drama and trauma would be a transformational journey, to be sure. We would learn so much about the Lord, ourselves, the justice system, the unjustness of our justice system. We would be transformed, I assure you. And maybe God would be pleased to use us to bring some comfort and blessing and help at a practical and maybe even a deep spiritual level to these people who feel so pushed aside. If you ever experience injustice, it doesn't feel good. And if you get it a lot, you get it racially, you get it economically, you get it from the system. It can make you very cynical. And most of us don't experience it. And so we wonder, what are they so cynical about? They're getting what they deserve. Hey, you do the crime, exactly. You do the time. So it's easy to quote those things, and I'm not trying to pick a fight with people over those.
Okay, but the transformational
engagement in ministry is concerned about the arc of this person's life. It's okay, they did the crime, now they're doing the time. What do we as a society care about their re-engagement? And so if I get involved in their drama and trauma, I probably can't do that with dozens of people once a month. That one family may be all I do. That may be a friendship I make for the rest of my life that I get meaningfully engaged in, and I watch the arc of their life change, hopefully, by my effort, and maybe the efforts of others that I can bring. Because when a person falls out of their own capacity to take care of themselves, it's not just one person that can help them. It takes a village. That's an African saying. There's a reason why we need tribes and villages and nations and communities and small groups. None of us exist for ourselves, unto ourselves, and none of us can get out of a ditch by ourselves. When bad things happen to us, we need a community. In fact, many of the problems that we have is because we live in a culture where there is little to no community.
Okay, so let's take an example of how this could help one of the other outreaches.
Okay, so that was a prison example. Let's think about juvenile delinquents. Let's think about gangs. That's the front end of the crime problem. If we're transactional, we can do something meaningful, like, hey, let's build a playground over here and put up a basketball goal for these kids. There's no place to play, and that's good. Once and done. Raise the money, do the deal, put up the gold. Maybe we build poured concrete ourselves, get the permissions, take the permit, all that. That's all good. Necessary, not sufficient. What about getting involved in those kids' life? What about understanding gang culture? What about working with the people who are in the criminal justice system trying to bend the curve and keep kids out of that? There are a lot of good, godly people, good Christian people in the criminal justice system trying to prevent crime, trying to stop young people, boys and girls, from getting into the system. And often the church is not there. We're not concerned with that. If we go and talk to the Christians on the inside, they can help us find someone to help. Maybe a patrol officer. Maybe we help someone who's I forget what you call them, the
Caseworker?
caseworkers. They're all overdone. They'd love to have a good mentor for some of the people they're doing case management for, to help them be eyes and ears and supplement and make sure they get to the why and get their homework and find a mentor at school and find a youth group that might be appropriate for them and talk to the parents and all the little stuff.
This is involvement. I mean, it just makes me tired thinking about all this because I've been involved with different pieces of this.
Yes.
This is not transactional.
No, and this is why we need to mobilize the whole church, because not everybody can do each of these pieces.
It's a huge.
But we can all get meaningfully involved in the lives of other people. And here's the good news is, those who are at the bottom and are hurting the most, they're not the majority. There's still a majority of us that are doing well enough that we have margin and capacity in our life if we were willing to give it. And not in a transactional mode, although there may be transactional need from time to time, but to have the longer arc of what it takes to walk people through a process of healing, of encouragement, of undoing their own past, their own bad decisions, and then getting them to make better ones. That's mentoring, that's involvement, that's transformational. It's messy, but it's also incredibly rewarding, and it happens.
Yes.
I don't want to make this such a dark case because the reason I keep doing it, I see transformation happening, not only in them, but in me.
Okay, look.
I'm a different Christian because of that.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we continue this discussion and deal with a few more examples? Because these things are all very different in one way, but in another way, they all
Same
take
theme, different story.
lots of serious
Yeah.
involvement. Lots of serious involvement. Okay?
Sure.